really are doing the Avengers. They're like, yeah, we're revealing the helicarrier in the Avengers, but you guys are showing it off in Iron Man 2. Well, I'm just helping out on Doomsday with some of the actions. There is this whole side Bucky thing that I won't go into detail, but we know exactly what's up.
If there is one Hot Toys figure to come out of Marvel Zombies, I need it to be that Blade with the bike too.
Whole like father losing their daughter kind of dynamic, and yeah, he went there so hardcore. It was actually ready to go back when Agatha was coming out. That little scene, like her question about like what's the deal with you two and all stuff, that all came because Simu asked that question. Like Wanda is like completely, she's got her faculties completely except they're a bit twisted because of said disease.
BD here, welcome back to another Phase Hero Director Debrief. This time, it's Marvel Zombies. Bryan Andrews. Yeah. Bryan, you're more than a director on this series. You have a few credits.
There's a few credits, yeah.
How many fingers does it take to get all your Marvel Zombies credits out?
Maybe just 3.
So
Maybe
it's
just
writer, director, executive producer, right?
Yeah, story by Zeb Wells is our main writer. Mm-hmm. But it all started with like me and Brad with coming up with like, what do we do next as a continuation of the thing? And then we'd start developing some stuff, and then at some point he's just like, I know what we need Zeb Wells, who was amazing, and he came in, so then it became this triumvirate of us kind of like figuring the last of it out and just doing the thing. And then executive producer and then director.
So what is like the distinction between like writer and story by?
That's hilarious. I don't know the extreme particular actual details. And all the writers out there are like, you.
Yeah, maybe we don't start that fire.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's like, it's very particular. I mean, the unions have their rules and all these other things. But I think if it's like the actual scripting, word for word, what people are saying and all that stuff, that's classic. Just that's writing. But sometimes when you're just shooting the stuff with the pals and being like, hey, this happens and then maybe this happens, right? That could be story by like, like old school Raiders of the Lost Ark when George Lucas and Spielberg and Kasdan are riffing. Technically, the story is kind of from all three of them, really.
Yeah.
Because if you see that cheat sheet where they from that interview where they're all talking about it, it's just like so much of it is like George being like, this would be great. And then Steven being like, and this, so, and then Kasdan's taking his notes and throwing in his 2 cents is like, oh, right, yeah, so then we'll do blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's good. So, yeah.
Could you imagine being part of those conversations?
That'd be amazing.
They didn't even know what they were cooking yet, too. That's crazy. I feel like you guys might have known what you were cooking with Marvel Zombies. This is really good, man.
Thanks, man.
And I'm not just saying it because you're here. Like, I know sometimes maybe people, I've done that, too. I'm sure I have walked into an interview like, I love this thing. And then I walk out, I'm like, I did. No, dude, Marvel Zombies is just, and we can say it, it's a TVMA show.
It's a TVMA show.
It is fucking awesome. Like, it's so good.
So wait, so this podcast is also TVMA?
Yeah, this is online. This is we got YouTube. If you're watching TVMA, Marvel Zombies chatter. If it's Peacemaker, if it's Marvel Zombies, if it's anything of the R-rated or TVMA or anything, it's fair game.
Right on.
Yeah.
So the F-bombs are okay.
Yeah, let them fly. But okay, hold on. I don't usually get a lot of time to talk to you. Every time we've talked, it's been like, hey, we have 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's keep it pretty quick. I would love to just hear about your story because I could rattle off your resume. It's awesome. You've done so much stuff I think is so cool, but specifically with Marvel, you go back to Iron Man 2 is what I saw.
Yeah, officially. Unofficially, Iron Man 1, oddly enough. At the time, Gendy Tartakovsky and I, we were doing the Orphanage Animation Studios way back when, and we were trying to get some work, trying to do some animated stuff and go around the town and go around the studios and stuff. And then somehow Gendy got hooked up doing a meeting with Marvel, because, Marvel Entertainment did animated stuff. And we didn't realize there were 2 separate camps at that time. And, Iron Man wasn't even a thing yet. Anyway, so we went for a meeting, but they were like, hey, you're pretty cool. And the Orphanage Animation was an offshoot of the Orphanage Visual Effects Studio House. And they were vying to get a job working on Iron Man. So they told us, it's like, hey man, Iron Man's coming up. We want to work on that thing. Can you guys help us do like a test? So I helped board the test that they then did, which actually got them the job. And then Marvel, they dug it so much, they put it in the movie. So basically when Iron Man bails from Gomera, after he's like shooting all the bad guys, he takes off into the sky. That's my stuff. That's where it takes over and we get shot out of the sky with that tank. That's like literally my shot as drawn on the board. And then he craters and he comes out and he strolls up and he fires the rocket, blows up the tank, turns around and walks away. So the VFX guys really wanted like him to walk away with all that attitude and character. I'm like, all right, you don't want anything bigger or crazier? No, let's do that. So to the credit, they were like, no, let's play him just like this. Like, you know, I'm over this, right? So we boarded that out, and then Marvel freaking loved it, and they got the job, and then it ended up in the movie. Wow. So then after that, that's when they were
and it's
like...
It's iconic, too.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah.
So and then after that, that's when they were like saying, hey, do you guys want to work on Iron Man 2? And like, design?
Yeah, then didn't Gendy and... Was it you two?
It was me and Gendy, yeah.
That fight scene in Iron Man 2 where they're back to back. I think I saw like the artwork from the original, too. It was so cool.
Yeah, all that stuff. Because back then, it was funny. I remember our first pitch, because they're like, hey, so you're going to do the climax for the movie. And it's going to take place at this kind of World's Fair-y kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And we're like, awesome. And that was back when like Crimson Dynamo was the villain.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we had this crazy idea where he was going to show up. Finally, they thought there was going to be all those drones. And then they're going to find a way to defeat the drones. And then Crimson Dynamo was going to show up. They're going to try and defeat him. And then he's going to do a thing where he turned all the drones back on to get like a Ray Harryhausen skeleton moment where like everyone who's dead like comes back and they're like, oh no! And they got to fight everyone and the boss at the same time. And like we were going to do this thing where it was too much for the heroes. So S.H.I.E.L.D. came in.
Oh.
And we had like the helicarrier show up and all these S.H.I.E.L.D. agents dropping down and like Fury and all this business. And we pitched it all. We didn't draw it out. That was just a pitch, right? Yeah. We just pitched it. And Kevin was just laughing, going like, you guys... He's like, okay, so basically you've given us a bunch of stuff we're doing in the next few movies, and you basically did the Avengers before we have a chance to do Avengers. I'm like, oh, you guys are like really are doing the Avengers. They're like, yeah, we're revealing the helicarrier in the Avengers, but you guys are showing it off in Iron Man 2, which we can't do. We're like, oh, all right. So it all came down, and the villain changed. It was no longer Crimson Dynamo and all this other business. But the one thing that really stayed was one of our core original ideas was that Japanese garden fight.
That's one of the best action scenes to this day. It's one of the best MCU action scenes.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. So we want it because as soon as they're like, hey, it's going to be in this World's Fair thing, I'm just like, Japanese Zen garden. And we did some drawings, some loose little drawings and stuff. And like Kevin and the guys were like, that's freaking cool. Because we went on that whole samurai aesthetic, with the blossoms falling down and the whole bit. So yeah, no, that was fun. So that started it. And after that, Kevin and Jeremy Latcham at the time were like, hey, man, do you want to work on Avengers? I was like, yeah.
If I have to.
Yeah, I know. Twist my arm.
That's cool, man. Yeah. And then, I mean, it's been so much work with Marvel since. I mean, you also more work with Gendy to like Primal more recently and stuff.
Totally. It was always both, right? Yeah. Like I'd always be doing some animation with Gendy, and then I'd always be doing some live action stuff with Marvel. So
Marvel Zombies, you went from What If, where you took on a bigger role, and then now into Marvel Zombies. And are you still going forward, working on anything coming up?
Right now, not necessarily with Marvel. I'm just helping out on Doomsday with some of the actions. They always grab like their choice favorite board guys, and we all jump in there and we all start. Kevin likes to call us, it's the Avengers. He likes to...
The guys who know how to put these...
Yeah. Because they gathered us together for, the finale of Endgame. Oh. And then so it was like all four of us, and then he was like, so these are my Avengers. It's like, dude, you're so funny. But it's cool. So yeah, I'm just helping out with that, and then hoping that people like zombies enough to do another one.
Man, well, don't you worry, I'm going to ask you about that.
All
right. So actually, that'll be our perfect transition. This is full spoilers for zombies starting right now. We gave you the warning at the top, but right now, seriously, this is a Marvel Zombies question. We're jumping into it.
That's right.
Well, first, I'm a fan of the comic. I'm a fan of Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman wrote Walking Dead. He wrote Marvel Zombies, and the Zombies comic would be very TVMA if directly adapted.
Sure.
But obviously, you took a few things and made some big changes to them. The biggest for me was that the zombies aren't conscious and like aware that what they're doing is terrible.
Right.
Spider-Man didn't eat his wife and aunt and know it the whole time.
Right.
But you do make references like you say words like hunger, like things that if you read the comics, you're like, oh yeah, that's you had T'Challa in the What If episode. That's right. Straight out of the comics.
Yeah.
So this started with What If. Can you talk about sort of early on the choice to, okay, we are going to have to change some of these details from the story, whether it's, exact moments or just the mythology of how the zombies work in the MCU compared to comics?
Yeah, totally. I think it's because What If was always, the whole point was it to spawn off of the MCU, right? Mm-hmm. So it's cinematic to begin with, not borrow from the comics in really any way. So when we did the zombie episode, it was kind of like, okay, what point in the movies would work for us to have a thing, and then what would be our, contagion, because again, the comics are great, but because it's a cinematic universe, we didn't want to just grab the comics and adapt the comics since everything's supposed to be spinning off the movies, right? So, we came up with what we did, and, we're like, all right, that's cool. But moving into Marvel Zombies proper, we knew we wanted even a bit more consciousness to some of the zombies. And the way to do that was Wanda. And how Wanda can control certain individuals or she can just get her magic and her power in there, and she can fine tune, it's a brain disease in ours to a certain, right? And so she can finesse that a little bit. So someone might be able to have more cognizance because Wanda's straight up controlling them, or she gifted them more so they can have access, because we don't just want superhero zombies that didn't have access to their powers. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that would be kind of...
There's a ton of zombie shows you can watch and see those types of zombies. That's fine. But these are superheroes zombies. We need them to do their cool stuff.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
If Tony Stark was just walking around biting people and not flying around in a suit as a zombie, it would just be...
or Thor or Cap or anyone with these abilities.
I noticed in the comics, Tony Stark is the one who gets cut in half and flies around as half a body. You cut Cap in half pretty quickly in this one.
Yeah.
Was that in the comics? He gets his head sliced off and he's walking around with half a head for the whole thing. Was there anything that you guys were like, oh, okay, well, we're doing TVMA, but that might be a little too much?
No, I'm not sure. I don't think that hindered us at all. It was always just following the flow of the story and what character was in what situation and what was the carnage that can befall them. So, for example, I think there's a lot of stuff that is on the table for the next one. So if there is a next one,
I hope so.
And so I think that stuff can get pushed more, because just even in the one that was for What If, there was a couple homages, like Black Panther, a couple homages to things that occurred in the comic, right? So that type of stuff still might pop up occasionally. Just depends on where the vibe goes as we're writing it and creating it. And so he's like, oh, but this one thing is amazing, and wouldn't that be great if we did our version of that in the thing? And then the fans of both would go, oh, I see what you did there. So there's always room for that kind of thing, but we don't actively hunt it. If it presents itself and it fits, then it's oh, that's perfect, we'll do that.
Also, if you adapted the story directly from the comics, you basically would have had Fantastic Four First Steps, but with zombies,
which would be amazing.
It'd be kind of
but at the time, it's Fantastic Four was barely a twinkle in Kevin's eye.
I guess that's true. You couldn't have known that would be
that was true. That was so long ago, and then also the X-Men being available, but then they're in different universes,
right?
Technically, so we're oh damn, our thing doesn't really. At the time, maybe there's a way we can finagle that for the next one, because believe me, it would be great to get more zombie options in the mix.
That's true.
It'd be awesome.
You killed a lot of characters already.
We did.
A lot of dead heroes.
There's a lot of dead heroes. There's still a few out there, though. There's a few. We know what's going on with certain people that didn't even appear in this thing.
Oh, okay.
Again, the story.
Where's Star-Lord at?
Yeah, exactly. The story we were writing was so big, and there was so much. There was no way to put it all in, and we didn't want to shortchange some of the cool stuff. So there is this whole side Bucky thing that I won't go into detail, but we know exactly what's up.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
So if there is a season 2, you've got ideas for Bucky.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Because we had him for this, and we just couldn't get it in there. So instead of shortchanging him, because the stuff I felt was really cool, it's we don't want to shortchange. So it's maybe it's best if we just move it off to the side.
When Blade Moon Knight scooped Kamala up, I thought it was Bucky. I thought it was going to be Bucky going by.
Yeah.
But it's Blade Moon. I don't know if there's rules per se, but I think the understanding from those of us on the outside of Marvel Studios is that the kind of rule with animation was they have to be in live action first. I think that was the case with What If, but Blade gets to be in Marvel Zombies.
Yes.
Is that because they were supposed to be a Blade movie 17 times by now?
Yes. There's supposed to be 5 Blade movies.
But I guess it's probably you guys started with this character with, they might have thought Blade might have come out by now.
Absolutely.
And so you guys were able to use him, and he was fucking awesome.
Thanks, man. He was so fun to use. We love him, and but you're exactly right. When we were making it, they had on the docket, okay, Blade is going to be out by blah, more or less. And they're writing it and all that type of stuff. So we're like, okay, cool. So he's on the table. Excellent. Because by then the math looked like we will come out after they do. So we can stay true to their mantra, right? But then we ran into this thing where we didn't want to, they're trying to figure the movie out and all that type of stuff. And sometimes when that's happening, concurrently, it's difficult for us because they're doing their thing over here. We want the character to be like it's going to be in the movie. So we're like, hey guys, looking over the fence. What's going on over there? Who's this character actually going to be? What are you guys doing over there? They're like, yeah, whatever. And so, but we need to know so we can match it up. We didn't want to deal with that anymore. So we're like, hey, if we made him the Fist of Khonshu, we are absolutely free. We could ignore everything they're doing because this is this Blade, not their Blade, right? Which freed us up tremendously. And as soon as we said that, we were like, oh my God, he would look so cool as the Fist of Khonshu. And like our guys started designing it and they started giving us some images. We're like, oh, fuck yeah, look at this shit.
If there is one Hot Toys figure to come out of Marvel Zombies, I need it to be that Blade with the bike too, hopefully.
The bike too would be amazing. And he's got the two sets of weapons. He has the katana, but then he also has his more traditional old school massive Egyptian blade thing that he uses in the finale.
I could see your DNA looking at your resume. I could see your stamp, especially on his action scenes. One with Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
Thanks, man.
That was so cool. But as cool as Blade Moon Knight, I think is going to be everybody's favorite character. We were watching it last night at the premiere, and people were popping.
Totally.
Like, it was like being at a sporting event for some of these moments, which was awesome. But at the core of this story is Kamala Khan.
Yes.
And this is my favorite Miss Marvel story the MCU has done yet, I think.
That's great.
And I like Miss Marvel. I like the Marvels. But I really think what you guys did with Kamala was awesome.
That's great.
How'd you guys kind of land on her as the centerpiece of Marvel Zombies?
You know, it's funny, again, early on, because we were developing this so like long ago, and then we finished it, and I think it sat around for a whole year before it was released, because it was actually ready to go back when Agatha was coming out last year. But then that means they would have had two things happening during fall/Halloween, and they didn't want any of them to eat each other, right? And it's just like, oh man, so we got to let Agatha be her thing, because I mean, we got to do that first, right?
And that was great.
And it was, and so we're like, all right, so I guess we just sit on this for like a year. So we were moving on to other things. Like, it's just hung out, just waiting. So totally. But so early on, the notion of doing Kamala, she was still relatively new. Like, I think her show had just been out.
Yeah.
I think barely. I mean, it's been
maybe like a year.
Maybe a year.
I think it was, what, 23?
It all bleeds together, the time, so I can't. It's hard for me to
Ever
remember.
Since 2020, every year is the same year.
It's all the same. It's all the same. But she was still early. Certainly, the Marvels hadn't even come out, right?
Right.
That was maybe that was in early stages of planning, or
that was 23. I think
we didn't even know. So yeah, but I think Brad zeroed in on Kamala, and I liked her just because Amana's so adorable, and she's a fun, young, brand new actress, and she's just so charming, and she's just fun, you know, and it just made sense with these young girls, with our timeline of where the zombie thing was starting. It made sense that, oh, these gals might have rallied around each other early and formed their own little tiny unit, all before any of them ever became a hero or did any of the adventures that anyone sees in the other material that's come out. Yeah. So it gave us a chance to almost like blank check them, like start again in a way. Yeah. And we hadn't even seen some of that other stuff. It hadn't even come out yet. So we're like, okay, this is who these people are. And we got to play with that. And then Brad likes to mention, he's totally right, just the notion of like Kamala is such a positive spirit. Mm-hmm. And in a zombie apocalypse, it's like, how can a positive spirit like even survive that?
Thunderstorms,
right?
Finding the beauty in thunderstorms.
So having it be a little bit through her lens, a little bit, this kind of hero that's like, the Avengers are amazing and it would be great to be a hero. All right, well, here you go. But the world has fallen to horrible garbage, and the Avengers are trying to eat you. You know, your idols are now your enemies to a certain degree. It's just like, how do we get to play with that? And so Brad likes to mention, and it's not untrue, she kind of ends up being a Frodo in our Lord of the Rings adventure, right? She's going on this journey, and this fellowship starts to form around her. Then there's members that come and go because of, death and everything else. So we looked at it that way, because even when we were developing this thing, we were thinking of it as like, well, you've got these beings with crazy powers, and the world has fallen apart. Everything's brand new. You have no idea where people are at or what's going on. I felt very fantasy in a way, or dark fantasy in a way, or like an RPG adventure, like some crazy zombie module you're playing in D&D. And Brad,
each episode kind of has multiple levels
in a way, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of allowed it to be kind of epic in that sense. So the whole Frodo analogy, in a way, that was just a way for our minds to kind of just click in a little bit and have some fun.
You nerds.
I know.
One of us. This is a major spoiler, but the first person to go is Kate Bishop.
Yes.
I could not believe the swiftness with which this character was removed. Why did she go first? How'd you guys decide on that?
Well,
that was insane. She was just gone.
Gone, yeah. Well, it kind of just develops organically. Like, we kind of knew we wanted to have this core group of gals, but then we wanted to, gut punch the audience and have them, die. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Like, shockingly so. And then have Kamala be the one that's left who's going, oh, shit. And it was just like, and it's Blade Knight who's going to, it just, certain things just fell into place. But then then came a question of, well, exactly how? And certain things start piecing together, and Zeb has a riff, and Brad has a riff, and I might say a thing, and things fall into place. So it's like with the whole deal with the trick arrow, right? She hadn't gotten the training from Hawkeye, because Hawkeye's like a zombie. So she's still like, these things are awesome, but she has no knowledge. So, she gets that thing, and then it's like, okay, well, it's got to be a dud, because that's going to be funny. Right? It's tragic and ironic and all these things all at the same time. Yeah, confetti. And then, and then she gets nuked after that, which would be a beautiful, shocking, oh my God, which sets, Kamala off. She's like, what the fuck? She hasn't experienced. It's funny, they all experienced their family members probably passing in some horrible way, but then they're able to find this unit and kind of move past that a little bit to a certain degree. But on camera, on screen, this is the moment right up that she really, on one of my close pals, one of the pals that helped me get through my off-screen trauma a little bit, is now taken from me suddenly. So she flips the fuck out. And then the decision for Ironheart not to fully get trashed, it just gave us an option, because there was a thing where we were actually going to have her come back at the final battle.
Oh, and actually be part of the battle.
And come in with her armor. Off camera, she was doing her own thing and making her own thing because she's trying to get to the right. But at some point, we're like, nah, we don't want to do that exactly. So then we came up with what we came up with.
I like the ending.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it in order. I mean, we keep talking about this.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. You're good. I want to go through it in the order of the episodes, but I have a lot of questions about those moments at the end specifically too. No, and we have the Cap slice in half. He fights Red Guardian. I think David Arbor must have had a blast.
Oh, dude, he did. He was so great in the booth. So fucking fantastic. He's so happy to be there and play.
Yeah.
And it's so effortless for him. Just riffing. Hey man, that was great, but fucking let's dial it up. Let's go a little bit crazy. Really go for it. I mean, and he would, man. He just gave us everything that you could ever want. I mean, his performance stuff is so great, especially when all the Jimmy Woo stuff, being palsy with Jimmy Woo, and laughing and being like, this is my guy. All that stuff was so great. He's so good. But then the really good stuff was we're jumping around a little bit, but with saying goodbye to his daughter, right?
Oh my
to
God.
Yelena. So we recorded David first, and just his performance is so fucking great. And the thing is, we know kind of how Yelena is, so I can work with him on that and be like, okay, this is probably how we're gonna play it with her. She's gonna be just like she is in the movies. You'd already worked with Florence, you know how she is. She's gonna be like, no, this is cool, Papa. This I'm or she says Dada, but this is cool. This is a good death. All that. But he's like, fuck no, because everyone he knows is gone and she's the last.
Mm-hmm.
So it's too much. So it's that whole father losing their daughter kind of dynamic. And yeah, he fucking went there so hardcore. It was so great. Just we needed that emotion. We needed that pathos, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the episode where we got a little bit of humor. Wow, we got some crazy violence. But I wanted to make sure that there's a moment that we actually have some real honest to God performance and emotion. And he's the guy that can really bring it.
So you had David Harbour crying in the booth.
Dude, he was awesome. And then he was so good. He was so good. And when we had Florence in, I told her about all of that. Like, hey, we already recorded David, and he went here with it, and I was doing my best to emulate his performance, just so he has an idea of like where he's going. But I'm telling her it's like it's going to play great against the contrast, because you're just like, you're trying to be strong for him, but it is breaking your heart inside, kind of a thing. So, because he's already losing it, and he's going to lose it even more if you show any ounce of emotion. But she loved it, and she was great. And funny enough, it was. Well, you'll probably get there anyway. I was going to talk about Simu and Shang-Chi and Yelena. Oh yeah, there's that little hint that
at the table.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on there? They.
So when Simu came in, he was really excited. He was excited to do it. He was like, "Hey, so me and my team, we were reading this thing, and I think Yelena's got a thing for Sean."
You planted the seed.
I was like, yeah, really? It's like, I mean, maybe we were kind of toying with it, but it never really sunk in with us as much. We didn't specifically fully write it that way until he said that. And we're like, does she? And he's like, tell me why you think. And he's just like, well, but blah, blah, blah. And he's got the script and he's talking about this. He's breaking it down. I'm like, that's hilarious, dude. Let's totally play it that way. So that little scene, like her question about like, what's the deal with you two and all stuff, that all came because Simu asked that question. And I was like, that's rad. And we're going to do that. And we recorded him before we recorded Florence as well. When we recorded Florence, I let her know. It's like, hey, so Simu was kind of into blah. And she's like, yeah, I could see that. I'm like, that's awesome. That's your game. And he's like, so this is how he kind of did it. This is the thing. He's like, no, I gotcha. And then she plays her version of it when she asked the question.
I always find those stories to be like I love it when the actors really break down the characters themselves and get that into it. And I think it's so cool when people come in and they're going to bring a pitch like, hey, this is what I think my character's doing. This is what I think that character's doing. And to hear sometimes, you guys are collaborative and you let it in. You let the actor.
I love that stuff.
Story by Simu Liu.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, sometimes someone might bring something that's just like, that's a great idea, but not for this movie.
Yeah, right.
But hey, I love your thought process.
Well, also sometimes I think I bring this up every time. I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Okay.
I operate in the world of wrestling, and I think about wrestlers always going and they're like, hey, what if we do this? What if we do that? The story we're telling. And sometimes a lot of guys, they want to look cool. Yeah. They want themselves to look cool.
Exactly.
And I always like with actors, they probably sometimes are like, this would make my character look really cool. But also, I imagine sometimes there's moments where they're like, this will make your character look really cool if I do this. And that's another thing that wrestlers do for each other. I think that's pretty cool to hear those stories. Though, when they actually get brought into the series.
Yes.
There's got to be footage of everybody in the booth. Like,
I wish.
We need to get some of that.
We have zero. If we do another one, I really want to make that happen because I see it everywhere else, but for some reason, there's some weird rule or something. I don't know if it's because we're doing quote unquote TV, we're not a feature or something. I don't know what it is, but I find it quite distressing and annoying.
You can't film
we
voice acting?
Yeah, and the thing is, we need that for the animators when it comes time to like nailing a performance or maybe a really beautiful and subtle facial expression or a tick or just something that the actor does. That's like gold for the animator. So if we do another one, I really want to push for that because we've dealt with that as a problem for all the what ifs.
Yeah,
and now also for zombies, and I'm just like, dudes, this is like. It's basic. It's classic, normal stuff. Set up a thing, film it, and then so we have the reference so that we can, bring their performance even more to life. Otherwise, it's me doing my best to remember, like, oh yeah, so when they did that thing, they had an expression that was like blur, and I'm trying to sketch it out and give it to our head animator, and we're doing our best, but it's like it'd be a lot easier if we can just record their performance, then we have it.
I just also imagine that like at Marvel Instagram where you have the scene on the top and then the actor in the booth. I'm a sucker to watch those clips too.
Those are great.
It's a great marketing tool.
Those are great.
Like Bradley Cooper as Rocket, I watch all of them.
Yeah, we would if this would happen in the past, we would have to edit it out. But Sebastian Stans, he's great and I dig him. When he first started doing voices for us for What If, I don't know if he had done much voice acting before. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like, I don't know, man, this whole booth thing is kind of weird. But it was funny watching him kind of work because he would totally get into it and totally do it. But he would do this thing before he would say the line to like jolt his system awake. Like, so right before he said the line, he would just let out an expletive that's in the vein of the state of the character that moment, right? So for example, he's getting ready to do the line. Say, you ready? He's like, yeah, okay, ready. And he'd be like, fuck. And then he would like you know, like do the line, or he'd be like, you know, shit, or like whatever. Like he would say some expletive. I'm like, this is really fucking hilarious.
It's like an energy setter for
I know,
him,
I love
guess.
it. And that's when I was like,
cool.
some of these episodes I wish were TVMA, because I would love to have like Bucky like just like drop an F-bomb or something.
It only took a few years. You got there.
I know, we got
now
there.
Season 2 of Zombies.
I know,
hopefully,
now we
and
can do it.
The big Bucky story.
The big Bucky story.
He's gonna be cursing up a storm.
Totally.
Episode 2 of Zombies. It starts out with San Francisco.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. I'm a big Shang-Chi guy, so happy to have him back.
Yeah, me too.
The San Francisco scene in episode 2, where it's the onset of the apocalypse, might be my favorite scene from the whole thing.
That's
because I'm a sucker for those type of apocalypse scenes.
Right.
And there's one movie that made me think of like there's this Japanese zombie movie called I Am a Hero. Has one of my favorite like end of the world scenes where you're in a city, it's chaos, you see it unfolding, you're like, oh, I understand why the zombie apocalypse beat society. Did you have inspiration from other like apocalypse movies or things like that to bring the zombie world to life in these moments?
Nothing specific, just probably just a lifetime of watching material. It's like we know it would be bad. It would not be pleasant. So it was just our chance to show some of that while just following these two main characters around and having the eyeballs go back and forth. You know, I think for me, one of the things that was in mind for me when I was thinking about that scene, and maybe why it came to my head so quickly, when we're going to show San Francisco, it's like I immediately was just like, almost everything you see, I imagined like instantly. It was like, oh, we're going to start with them. They're going to be trapped, fall on the ground. We're going to get up, and then with the helicopters and the whole thing, like I had it all. Zeb and Brad didn't even know what the fuck we were doing yet, and I'm just like, no, I know what we're doing. And they're starting to like talk about more story stuff on other story meetings, like maybe this. I'm like, yeah, no. It's just, trust me, it's going to be this, and it's going to be fine. And the Pym and the giants.
Yes, it's like Godzilla.
All that
San
shit
Francisco
just came to me so quick, and it just been sitting in there until it came time to like unleash it. But there was the scene in Spielberg's War of the Worlds when the first Martian craft erupts out of the city street and starts frying people, and you're running with people, and people are just randomly just turning into dust, and their clothes go flying. It's a really good sequence. I mean, he just knocked out of the park for that. So whatever you think of the film, that sequence is freaking great, right? But there was this urgency, this feeling of like there is no escape. There's nowhere you can go. And so I think that was in the back of my head for that initial part of running through them, with them through the city and seeing all the different bits of insanity.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I was so happy Sean came back in such an epic form, because he was in What If too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Simu.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to the raft in this episode. The Multiverse Saga hasn't done a ton of teaming the heroes up that it's introduced. I mean, Thunderbolts just did it, but we've had a lot of new characters introduced, and this show really reminded me of how much fun MCU team-ups can be when we see these stories come together. Yeah. You have we have John Walker, Baron Zemo, like the whole Red Guardian crew, the Shang-Chi crew. How did you this is such a collection of characters. And I imagine this probably was one of the things. Was this immediately, these are the characters we're going to use and how we're going to bring them together as groups? Or was there different rosters? How did you land on that?
There may have been slightly different rosters, not in totality, but just like a few ancillary characters here and there. But when we realized, we can't get that in a way that makes enough sense with the amount of time we have to tell the story, that we had to jettison some people, hence there's ideas out there that we can explore for the next one, because there's these things that we were already thinking about. But relatively early on, we had the gals, and we knew they were going to be, some of them would be lost, and then they would meet up with the Red Guardian and that crew. We called that the East Coast crew.
Yeah.
And then we had we knew we were going to be like, and we got to see San Francisco. We knew like Sean, Katie, and Jimmy Woo's there. We're like, great. It's like immediately we're like, aha. And it's like, okay. And that's the West Coast group. And they're going to have this group and this group. But they're all trying to get to that same bit so we can get them into a thing together where all hell can break loose. And then we're left with this little crew that we're going to have for the rest of the movie.
Y'all wrecked John Walker.
Oh, I know. Poor guy.
Oh, in slow-mo too?
I know.
I know. I might be misremembering this. I've only watched like 1.5 times so far. But it seems like the characters who were morally gray or outright bad often got seen having terrible deaths, and sometimes the heroes would maybe die off screen or something. Was that like an intentional thing so we don't have to watch the people we love get torn apart?
Not necessarily, because I mean, poor Jimmy Woo.
Oh, we saw his head pop up. Oh my god,
he got ripped to shreds.
See, I knew there'd be something I was forgetting.
But no, I think there's
Because watching John Walker get split in half isn't quite as fulfilling as watching Yelena get exploded.
No.
Like close up, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
John's being a total dick the whole time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So he got some, just desserts, even though Riot Russell's fantastic and we love him. But yes, he went hardcore. And savage, because he would be. He's freaking unstoppable, man.
Yeah.
That guy's like.
And you did the ankles too when he was pushing them back with Kamala's powers. And you cut to the ankles. I was like, this is so good. You guys did not miss anything with that. I'm sorry. I'm just glazing now. I gotta calm down.
It's funny because like that whole attack sequence did start off differently before time and money realities turned it into what it was. There was a thing where they had to get to the top of the raft because there was like a craft up there that they can fly out or escape from. And it was going to be like pouring rain and all this shit. And because all the other creatures are coming in from below, so like, let's go up. And so they were going to get up, and then out there in the darkness and the rain hovering already, that would be Namor. And they're like, fuck. And then like Simu would be like, go back in, go back in, go back in. And they go back into the special elevator and start going down. And he's just like, boosh, and he can just fly through that raft like it's fucking made of paper.
Yeah.
And then that's how it goes, right? There'd be all this carnage that way. But time, money, it's like, oh no, we can't do the thing. It's like, okay, well, let's keep it here and do it this. We still get the same beat. He still serves the same purpose.
Yeah.
But
it worked.
It worked
really
fine.
well.
It worked great.
When
yeah, putting in that
burst
kill
back
box
through the escape pod. It just all starts to
it's good.
that was good.
It still worked out.
And I was glad I watched the What If episode before, like rewatched it before going back to watch Marvel Zombies, because in episode 3 you pick up with where the What If episode ended off.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to handle the Black Panther stuff in a very delicate way, and I thought you did a really good job of that. I thought you gave T'Challa this beautiful send off and credit him with saving the universe.
Totally.
How hard was it to come up with what felt right for that?
I think we were just pushed into that space, and that was like our really only option. I mean, it came, if memory serves, pretty crystalline. It's like, oh well, this has got to be how it is, because Marvel still wasn't ready to like cast a voice talent to replace Chadwick. Even though I feel like if they were ever going to do it, animation's the way to do it, because you're not seeing like literally a physical actor taking over that role. It's just someone who would hopefully sound a lot like him.
Sure.
I think people would be more forgiving, but we would have to clear that. I'd want the family on board 1,000%, right? And at that time, Marvel's kind of like, we're just not even going to worry about that at the moment. It's like, all right, well then this is how we can do it without having the voice. We have Peter voice over the whole thing, kind of telling it like it's the memory, right? Because I got saved. So that was really cool. There was a whole different idea. We'll get to all the Hulk stuff. That was going to originally be a version of Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
We were creating this new character where it's like this spirit of what he embodied when he made that sacrifice, gave birth to a being. When he says Wakanda forever, that the stones did this thing and created this being that could like harness that energy and just protect that spot like forever. And we called him Vigil, as if he was holding vigil at this point of where the king made his sacrifice. So he's almost holding vigil for the memory of all that was once there.
Yeah.
And we had this design for him. He was amazing. He looked like this jet black, pure like man panther like thing with all that energy coming off of him. But we talked to like Ryan Coogler's people and Mr. Coogler himself, and they were kind of like, yeah, that's a great idea, man. It's really cool, but man, I just don't know. I don't know. So it's like, you know what? I get you. Let's not worry about this. There's a different way we can do this, and it might actually work out better. So we kept T'Challa sacrifice, and then the Wizards of Kaimertage were kind of like, well, let's get Banner to do it, because we still had the problem of how do we wrangle that energy, and we still needed a character to fill the spot of once was this character Vigil that we had created. It's like, well, the Hulk could possibly do that.
And we also, the fans remember that Hulk says, it's like I was made for this when it comes to the Infinity Stones.
Absolutely. All that stuff ties in so well. So, yeah.
Did you like find yourself talking to a lot of other producers and directors who work on these characters in other projects like you did with Coogler, or was that like a case where you had to?
It's just Coogler specifically, just because Wakanda is like so much his.
It's so his DNA.
It's so his DNA. It's so his baby, and like we love it, and we're so respectful of it.
Mm-hmm.
That it makes sense. It's like we gotta talk. We did the same thing a little bit when we with the Star-Lord T'Challa. episode, talking a little bit. It's funny how many ideas Chadwick himself had specifically. Like we've mentioned this on other interviews and stuff. Like we were gonna totally do a spin-off of Star-Lord T'Challa. He was gonna have his own show.
Yeah, I saw that.
And but he passed, and we couldn't. Somewhere in the future, maybe we still can if the family is cool with getting someone who can truly do the performance justice.
Sure.
Because again, I think in animation, you can get past that, but yeah, having someone else. It's funny too.
It's hard.
Because Chadwick himself though said he had a quote at I forget where it was, but there was a thing where someone asked him about like you're gonna be playing T'Challa like forever, and he's just kind of like. But he was like, no, like I don't know if he used the James Bond example, but he used an example of like there's different actors that play the same character. Look at all the actors that have played Hamlet.
Sure.
It's okay. And he's like, he literally said that he didn't want to be the only T'Challa.
Sure.
So, if Marvel really wanted to, but they've already made their choices in the live action realm.
Right.
Which is why I think in animation, I think it could be really awesome to see T'Challa again. That would be,
Yeah.
Personally, I think that would be amazing, but hey.
We did get Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
In a big way in Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Olsen just has her voice just has a presence.
Oh yeah, she's great.
It's as soon as she starts talking, I feel like I have to lean forward, and it's just because she has my attention in a whole different way.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cool what you do with her. Is this, in your perspective, just knowing the ins and outs of the lore and everything you guys just built, is this sort of a expounded version of what she did in WandaVision, where she's projecting a reality?
Kind of.
In a more villainous way.
Kind of, yeah. Because it's all part of that same stuff, right? Like she
Yeah.
did this in a small capacity in WandaVision, but we were like, hey, but if she has access to like the power of all the stones, it's like, well, then she can do it to the entirety of the planet without blinking an eye, right? So it did come a little bit from that, but also because it is the Reality Stone and it's all the Infinity Stones. It's not just like an illusion. I would argue that there's actual reality happening, as opposed to I'm just making your brain pretend and think. I like to think of it as the fact that like it's that, but also not that, which makes it even a little bit more entangled and maybe more difficult for characters to deal with. If there's another one, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been giving that a lot of thought, so I have ideas of what's really going on.
Because she's the only. Because there's another zombie that talks a little bit, but she seems to be almost fully conscious.
She is absolutely, like Wanda is like completely, she's got her faculties completely, and except they're a bit twisted because of said disease.
Right.
But Okoye is speaking as well, because we liked having her be kind of like Wanda's top general. So she's given her a certain degree of autonomy, not enough to doubt anything that she's doing, but all the badassery is there. It's like you are just literally my right-hand person,
Yeah.
Which is great. And so depending on the needs, I think that she can just dial up the badassness and of whoever one of her subjects are, so yeah.
And then I feel like anytime you have a Thor entrance in any piece of Marvel, there's got to be a pressure that the entrance just has to be epic.
I know, it sure seems that way, right?
You did it. You found it out. Did you think there had to be a temptation? Like, can we use Led Zeppelin? Can we get the song from Ragnarok? Because I was wondering if it was about to start playing when the lightning started.
Right.
Here comes Thor, and I was like, here.
That'd be hilarious. Except they did that so well in Ragnarok.
You can't top it.
As like
if you try to copy it.
I know, but it's also such a hero moment.
Oh yeah.
So if anything, we would just go more like brutal metal.
Yeah.
Like.
Dude, sorry, I just remembered that you killed Rocket and Groot earlier with Thor in his first entrance.
I know.
Oh my god, that was savage.
There was like four or five ladies sitting in the row in front of us, and when that happened, it's like everyone was like, yeah, like Rocket, like they can't believe it, and then he gets nuked to hell, and they see his body just wither away, and they're like. At different moments, each of them just adopted the same hand to mouth, like shock face, like all in a line, like all of them had the exact same reaction. We're like, sorry.
Have you seen the actors watch any of the characters' deaths yet?
No, not at all.
God, I imagine some of them are gonna have some crazy reactions.
I would love. I mean, it makes you wonder. Like, Are some of them totally into it? They're like, oh yeah, I did that thing. I want to see it. Or they're kind of like, nah, it's fine.
I've done so many projects through it. Yeah. No, I bet I would have. I like to think.
I would like to think.
Yeah, everybody.
I don't know if this is true, but I like to imagine Simu Liu with a group of pals. They all get together and they have a screening of the whole thing. Like he, to me, seems like the kind of guy that would.
Yeah, I think he loves being a part of this. He's one who strikes me, and a few people really strike me as loving to be a part of like these roles. Yeah, and he's one of them.
And maybe the gals, like Amon, she might. Like, I'm gonna get all my friends and we're gonna watch it.
I was shocked she was. I thought for sure she'd be at the premiere. I
know.
There's no way Amon's gonna wait another day to watch this. She's probably the biggest Marvel fan of anyone.
That's amazing.
No, but she's great, and this is her show at the heart.
Really
so let's
cool.
talk about. We got to wrap this up here. Let's talk about this final episode where we really do see this is Kamala's show at the heart, and Scarlet Witch is really after her.
Yeah.
Why was it her? Can you elaborate? From your perspective, what was it about Kamala?
For our perspective, I feel it's because of the power she has access to, like in the bangle. And I think eventually you discover in the shows. I mean, it's been so long since I've watched it, but I mean, part of it is the fact that like you don't need the bangle, right? It's in her. So there's an aspect of that I think Wanda needs, because all that infinity power is loosey goosey, and even with Wanda's ability, she can't wrangle all the power of all 6 Infinity Stones on her own, regardless of all of her power. She needs something. The same way that someone might need a gauntlet, she needs something to focus that. And I felt like the hard light was a way to do that. Like the same way you would have a gem or a jewel kind of like be a perfect drill bit, or refract light in a certain way to create like an uber intense laser to do the work that you need to do. It was something about that magnification process, using it as a way to like, and then the Hulk, Infinity Hulk, as a stabilizing force. It's like, okay, I got you, I have access to you. Now I have you, which will allow me to utilize. So it takes all 3 of us to do the thing that I want to do. Wanda's more powerful in the mind than either of these 2 individuals that she's got. So she's like, okay, I've just got the different pieces to the car, and I'm the driver, and here we go. You know what I mean? So to me, that's kind of like always what her end game was. And it's funny too, because like that whole army that she amasses, it's basically, and you see she starts getting headway and they're wounding, but he's healing because I've got infinity energy around me. And in the end, it's kind of like, it's not about defeating you. It's just about distracting you.
So if there is more, Shang-Chi's a zombie now.
Possibly, because that thing happened before he fully turned.
Oh, yeah, because I saw him get bit, and then I was like, no, not my boy. But everybody, I thought you killed Blade Moon Knight just so that we wouldn't ask for him in every project going forward, because I thought he was fucking awesome.
He's awesome.
He got washed. Same way as fast as Kate Bishop went, Blade Moon Knight was gone too.
But you see that Kate Bishop's there at the end.
Well, yeah, let's go right there.
So,
you have the projection, you have Kamala seeing Riri and Kate. And then flashes of Riri now has survived that opening scene to now come track down Kamala to try to get her out of, I guess, this hex that. Well, what's going on, man?
I can't tell you.
What do you mean?
You gotta wait till the next one to find out.
Oh my God! I thought that was a really cool way to end it. I love, it's like Inception with like the thing spinning. Oh wait, it's not over.
It's so funny too, because Inception, it's so subtle.
Yes.
And it makes you wonder. Is he still in a dream? Like, is he still screwed? Like, is that thing ever, and it starts to wobble, or does it, right? Yeah. So our first version and the version I was doing, it was so subtle. Like, it was just we didn't show anything. It was just a hint of doubt, like there may be like a hint of a sound or just a thought process. And she realizes that maybe she made a mistake, and maybe voices that out loud to her friends because there was something off, something really subtle, like really subtle. And, that was how it was for a while. And then with our awesome editors and stuff, we're looking at the material, you're re-looking at the material, you're cutting the episodes, it's living with you for a while. And it's just like, yeah, we should do more. And I think the first ideas were just way more, too more. I'm like, that's kind of gross. I don't want to go that far, because that just kind of like, it's not cool. So we found the happy medium, which was fantastic. It's like, I think someone's mentioned, like, what if Riri that's the voice she hears on the wind, or she pops out of a portal door behind her like, hey man, everything's all messed up, what? Like, it was not it was not quite right,
Yeah.
but it was the right direction. It was the right way to go. It was the right kernel of an idea. So then I was like, okay, let me chew on that for a second. And I'm like, oh, okay, here's what we do. Here's how we can do it. And like people were like, yes. And we ran it past Brad and Zeb, and they're like, ooh. So they're all getting on board with that stuff. And so it was a really collaborative way to kind of like, here's what we want to do, but how do we play it the best, right, to serve our needs? And it really left her with that sense. And the reaction on the audience, at least in that crowd, when they watched it, they were like, wait, what?
It's over?
They're like, wait, no, what the heck? I'm being like denied happiness. It felt very Twilight Zone to me.
But also the comic doesn't have a happy ending either.
No,
so
it's true.
Kinda, you're stuck to the roots there too.
We stuck to the roots there. I think there is I like to think that there is a zombie movie that can possibly at some point end with a happy ending.
Sure.
At some point, like I don't think it always has to be the thing, but I don't know. Maybe that's the rule now. I don't know. But this one we couldn't, right? Because there was more story to tell. There's other stuff going on that we never even got to put in this movie that we know that are happening. So we're like, no, this is the right way to do it, because that's the reality of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Without any of you viewers being aware of all the other stories that are influencing what you're watching at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine this is going to be a pretty successful show. I mean,
hope
technically,
so.
the time we're recording this is not out till tomorrow. Everybody's watching has already seen it. But the trailer put up numbers. Like, it was this, I think, the second most watched like Marvel animation thing behind only X-Men, which is technically, it's the most watched of a first thing that Marvel Animations. But if you get it, like, because X-Men's a continuation.
Exactly.
Even though it's 97, it's a new show, but it's also,
Yes.
based on something that there's an affinity for.
Correct.
Whereas Marvel, this is the first Marvel Zombies animated thing.
Yes.
And that trailer put up insane numbers.
It did. It was crazy.
So hopefully.
I heard something like someone in the Disney world was telling me something. I don't know if it's true. But they're like, oh no, like they're tracking all the things online and all the other things, and they're realizing that the interest it's generating is like almost on par with the interest that some of the live action stuff does.
Man,
and I'm like, what? That's freaking cool.
There's also an appetite, not to make a pun, but there's an appetite for mature content right now.
Absolutely.
I was like 15 or 16 when Iron Man came out. I'm 33 now, so I like both. I still like the Iron Man, the Miss Marvel, all those kind of, but I also love Deadpool and Wolverine and Marvel Zombies. So if they called you right now, say Brad called you and he said, listen, we're greenlit season 2 Marvel Zombies. Based on your experience on so many projects like this, how long does that take? Like, traditionally, I know you probably know
to get it out faster requires a bit more money.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the money is a certain amount, then it's like, okay, we got to like stretch that out a little bit. But I mean, we would probably want to get this out quicker, obviously, if there's the demand for it. But we want the quality to remain the same or go higher.
Yeah.
And that's always the problem, right? So if we played it super smart, I like to think I'm always thinking positively. I would love to think that if we started like tomorrow, we can have something out like in a year and a half. And meanwhile, all the production staff are probably going, that's garbage, there's no way.
Let us spend time with our families.
It's like, no, there could be a way to do it with quality of life. It just means more money, hire more people, so that it's not a small. I think there's ways that we want to do certain things differently if we do the next one that helps the process.
Sure.
Right, that helps the quality stay high, but without too many mistakes. I got to mention our awesome vendor, Stellar, up in Canada.
Yes.
They did a great job, and like their team, I mean, they were down for it and they were hungry for it, and it was so great. And we worked really hard with them to even, I think, up their game. And they had some cool ideas to help, facilitate some improvements. Every time we do a what ifs any season, we're always dialing up the style a bit more, because we never had the money or the time to do the style the way we wanted to in the beginning. I still think it looks good, but every season it's looking better and better.
Yeah.
Because it's always getting closer to what our original goal was.
Sure.
Because we don't have the money that some studios have, where they're just like, and here's like $90 million just to figure out the first episode. It's like, we don't have that like at all. So we're literally figuring it out as we're delivering it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but they did a great job. They had some cool ideas, and working with our team, I think it was a really awesome partnership. And I think they might have some ideas on the things that can help us push it. And we have some ideas that can help it push it. So we need to like get back together and start chatting about that shit. so that we can actually do it. But yes, I would love to get it done and get it done pronto.
Yeah, man. The streaming era, I feel like nothing. Whether it's live action animation, everything's a couple years in between these days.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I think what you did with Marvel Zombies was awesome.
Thanks.
I can't wait to be talking about this with everybody when they see it. I mean, there's going to be no better conversation than one I just had. Though. Everybody, show some love to Bryan Andrews in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging with us on Phase Hero, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Oh, and I got to give a shout out before we wrap to Real Rejects as well, because this studio is the Real Reject Studio, and they welcome us in here to record these interviews. And I want to shout out Greg specifically. Greg Alba's the man. But yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.